From someone who believed to someone who one day stopped believing in everything. I even got to the point of saying that God was a tyrant, that he was a dictator. I gradually stopped going to church. It was a Wednesday when I was very tired, so I would say, I'm not going today. On Sunday mornings, sometimes I would say, oh, it's better not to go. I'll sleep a little longer. And with that, outside the church, I became very close to friends from school that I used to think, is it really as bad as they say to live in this world? I see them laughing, I see them having fun, but I think that's really what it is. That's what it is. I started drinking, smoking, but that made me a very insecure person. When I went out, I immediately had a focus. I was going to get drunk. At that moment, I forgot about my problems, that I had a little joy, I had a little comfort, so I became dependent on those moments. I remembered them saying it was good, that it would give me pleasure, but inside I had the feeling, is that all there is to it? Is that really what they say is so good? Is that seriously it? I'm here, it's bringing me a little pleasure, but it's not fulfilling me. I kept remembering the church, remembering the events, but something always happened to distract me, to make me forget those memories. And I also ended up developing a certain resentment, even towards God himself. I stopped believing. I remember saying, if this God exists, he's a tyrant because he doesn't truly accept me. He doesn't accept people as they really are. So this hatred grew inside me, but longing always came back too. Life away from God is a life of dependence. We are dependent on moments that bring pleasure, but it's only momentary. I remember getting drunk, but when the effect wore off, the hangover would come, and the weight of it all would be doubled, tripled. My complexes grew, my anxiety increased. It's a completely empty life, a life of insecurity. You're afraid of dying. Because at the same time that I didn't believe it, I thought, oh my God, if I die now, where will I go? And I had a longing, a great longing, to tell the truth. But many times pride got the better of me. Sometimes I didn't have the strength to go there alone. Like, wait a minute, I'm going to church today. I remember one day I was at home, and it was me and a friend. We were smoking. And my mom came home and saw us both there. And she already knew what I was doing. She already knew I did that. But when I looked at her face, I thought, I'm messing up my life. I'm throwing my life away. And I remember that after she left, I felt bad the whole time. My friend left, and I remember she called me over to talk. We talked for a while. Then she came over and said, son, do you remember when you were in church? And I said, I remember, Mom, but what about it? And she said, everything you do today, everything, you hated. You didn't need any of that to laugh, to smile. You didn't hang out with the people you hang out with today. You didn't have the things you talk about today. You were totally different, but you smiled. You were another person. Don't you miss that? And I remember that during that conversation, I started to remember even more. And I am sorry. I remember that after the conversation, I closed my bedroom door. And after a long time, I talked to God. I knelt down and started shouting for help. And a few days passed. And that simple prayer was answered. And I remember one Sunday a young man came to my house. He called me. My mother answered. She said, son, the young man from the VYG is inviting you to go to church. And right then and there, without thinking twice, I accepted. Then I started attending meetings again. I was baptized in water. I repented of my mistakes. I said, "Pastor, you don't even need much water. Take your hand, wet it, and place it on my head, because I know I'm going to die to this world, because I don't want to be this John anymore." He baptized me, and a short time later, on a Wednesday, I remember that he called out, during the time of seeking God, those who didn't have the Holy Spirit and wanted to receive it. I went up to the altar. I emptied myself of my past memories. I surrendered my mistakes, my fears, my futures, my dreams, my feelings. I emptied myself. And then he gave me his Spirit. I remember it felt like I was in heaven. I had so many conflicts, so many doubts. And through a certainty that he dwelling in me, that he was with me, that storm calmed down. I am happy, and I literally don't need anything I needed before. And if you're there, far away, like I once was, I know you miss it. Memories come to mind from time to time. But sometimes you think, will they judge me? Will I be well received? Am I even worthy of being there? I tell you that when you return, it will be a celebration. You won't be judged. On the contrary, you will be embraced. Here you will truly find the peace you've been searching for. If I were you, I would run back, because if I had known, I would never have strayed from God's presence.